The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shar, the Gathered of Christ Church, here with our weekly Patreon update. Okay, I would like to say shalom to my brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. How you doing, Shamika? I see you there, Shamika. I knew a few Shamikas coming up. All right, we have a Lotus Blossom, Pretty Rose, Suzanne, Reuben, Ra'aban Israel, Donald, Erica, and the usual righteousness in the house. I'm Elder Ricard Shar here with the update, and as you can see, it's serious. They're climbing in your windows. They are climbing in your windows is what we're going to talk about, and leading into, he's supposed to put they are. Let me do it. But I did tell him to do it exactly how I send it. So let me update this first. They are climbing in your windows. Explanation point. Yeah? What's this about? We're going to talk about that in a moment. Right, but let me make a few updates before I go in. Okay, before I go in, I have a special guest in a moment. A special guest from Canada, Deacon Dawada, who's been operating with us for a long, long time with some great news. Okay, and I want to talk about that before I go into it. All right, and again, I'm Elder Ricard Shar of the Gathered of Christ Church. Oh yeah. Let me put this out there real quick. All right. Let me put this out there. Let me see here. Let me put this out there real quick. I wanted to put this out there real quick for those. We noticed that since they have done a lot of this, what you would call the compromise of people's information out there for the last couple of weeks when it comes to these other platforms. You know, they claim that so many people's private information, you know, has been exposed through some leak, if you want to believe that, right? But anyway, I wanted to make this announcement before I go in. Okay. For those in the church who usually use the $ gathering 144 GOCC, okay? You see that at the bottom here? Right over here. Well, the top one, $GOCC 144 donate, is for those who would like to contribute to the elders for our weekly broadcast to help us in the work personally. Tithes and offerings is usually a scenario where if people who doesn't have a congregation as of yet, but still would like to pay their tithes and their support, or if you are a church member, we set that up during the quote-unquote pandemic. If you are a church member and you use $gathering144 GOCC, we will no longer be receiving through the bottom Cash App, okay? Because if you've been sending and it's kicking you back, right, we don't want to deal with those issues. So the bottom Cash App will no longer be available. There's issues there, okay? So I'm just saying this. If Cash App has been kicking you back or saying that, you know, your money's in limbo or sending it back to you, and I'm speaking of only the bottom Cash App, you must use a different alternative going forward, okay? All right. We have many alternatives for church members outside of Cash App. The bottom Cash App will no longer be applicable. Don't send to that, okay? So the $gathering144 GOCC, don't send to that at all going forward. Instead, you can go to gatheringofchrist.org if you usually use Cash App in the church to send tithes and offerings. And when you go there, hit donate, and you'll see all these specific, don't use this one, but all of the options will be right there on gatheringofchrist.org as an alternative, okay, to support when it comes to tithes and offerings, an alternative instead of Cash Apps, okay? I wanted to put that out there. And I'm talking about and I'm speaking of the bottom Cash App in particular, all right? So if you've been using tithes or offerings, sending to $gathering144 GOCC, no longer use that. Go to gatheringofchrist.org and use these options on our website for your specific transaction or to send to the church. Okay, I know it's more convenient through Cash App, but we're working on something different, or a new Cash App separate from the $gathering144 GOCC. Now, with that being said, the top Cash App, $GOCC144 donate, is still applicable. All right. So if you're just sending to support the weekly broadcast, you can still use the top one for that. That's no issue at all. But the second one from the top is no longer applicable. All right. Just wanted to put that out there because a lot of people's money been getting kicked back. There's a lot of different issues going on. I'm hearing all over the United States, there's something going on with Cash App. So don't worry about that. We have alternatives. All right. We have alternative measures to continue the support for the work. We still got PayPal. If you have a credit card, you can still mail a check, a money order. Those options are still available. Okay. Now there's something going on, but again, if you want to donate weekly for these broadcasts that are brought to you every week, and it goes to the elders and help support what we need to do, you can still use the top one, $GOCC 144 donate. All right. Without any further ado, they are climbing in your windows. We told you this was going to happen. Okay. But before I go there, I have a special guest. I don't want to hold him up too long because he's a brother in this work, has been doing this work for a long time. Brother Dawada from the Canada body, one of the leaders who have established GOCC Canada, is in the house. And I believe he's in Toronto right now. Let me give up a round of applause for my brother from the same mother, Leah. Shalom, Deacon Dawada. How are you doing today?
Shalom, I'm blessed, sir. I'm blessed. Yeah, I didn't make it into Toronto just yet. I'm still out in the west.
Where are you? Edmonton? Where are you?
Edmonton, that's correct. Yeah.
Edmonton.
Edmonton. Yeah.
All right.
But we did plan to converge down in Toronto very soon. But nonetheless, Elder, it's been a blessing, Shalom to all the family out there. I know everybody's in Sabbath prep mode and getting ready for the Sabbath. Today is going to be a very interesting topic because climbing through the windows is exactly what is happening.
Yeah.
We see it. We see it. We see it.
You see it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, well, maybe you can help
Go
me
ahead.
with this update before we segue over. I have Elder Lawyer who's going to deal with that side of it for Patreon this
Okay.
week.
Definitely.
And I don't know if you've seen that debate between Candace Owens and Rabbi Smuley. Lord have mercy. I'm gonna tell you right now, you talking about someone that's giving them that work. Well,
Oh, yeah.
that's such a hot button scenario right now, and I don't even want to throw that out there. I'm gonna take next week, Deacon,
Yeah.
to pick that apart and to show you
Please do.
how these people are professional gaslighters. Refuse to answer a direct question, ad hominem attacks, deflection, right? I mean, the Jedi mind trick, hey, Harry Potter does no longer work. But I'll deal with that next week. Harry Potter does no longer work will be the discussion. well, let's talk. Let's talk real quick. Oh, did she give him that work? Real
She
quick.
gave it to him.
Real quick. How long have you been operating with the body, my brother Dawada?
So out here we've been established maybe about 3.5 years now, getting set up out in the West and really spreading forth throughout the provinces in the areas out here, British Columbia, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan. And I believe the work is, really pushing to a new level, through the hard labor of the officers, brothers, sisters out here, pushing to our Gadite brothers. And, this is why, I'm on the broadcast today, just to bring, to shed some light as to what's happening out here in particular.
Okay.
Where I believe, and it won't take too long, the dark hidden secrets of Canada in particular when it came to, the captivity of the natives out here in particular and the treatment that they received, especially through the residential school systems and stuff like that. And when you say climbing through the windows, that's why I was just like, the spirit is definitely working because this is something that they were doing since the 1800s to them in particular with the assistance of the government. And it's being put out there by the government right now stating that, yes, they were working with, how they're supposed to have the separation of church and state. And basically the church had the government come in and assist them in ripping the children from our brothers, our tribe of Gad brothers.
The Gadites in Canada.
Gadites in Canada. They were going to the homes, taking the children and forcing them into these residential schools. And upon them arriving there, it was a straight, shave their head. No longer you can speak your language. Forget about your heritage. 7 generations. And I'm not going to take too long into all of this. So with that being said, it's been a tough challenge being that, coming out, showing them that we are a Christian organization, not, pre-Constantine Christian organization.
Yeah. I'm about to say, make sure we put a qualifier on that.
Oh, don't you worry.
We are pre-Constantine Christians. We were the Christians before the pagan infiltration. Okay,
That's
those
correct.
Christians. But go on.
And they had a direct interaction with the Roman Catholic Church when it comes to all of this. So that's why I make sure we have that distinction between the two. And through the brothers and sisters and, family members showing the videos that you elders have been putting on weekly.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I'm going to do one better.
Go ahead.
They said they want to be able to hear everything you have to say. So let me do something for you, okay?
Okay. Am I too low?
Say something now.
Testing. 1, 2, 1, 3.
Hold on. 1 second.
Yes, sir.
All right. Rhodes.
I could turn my mic up if it's my side.
No, don't do anything. I'm going to see if I can get you through the Rhodes system real quick. Oh, I can do it that way. That's what it is.
Okay.
I'll do it through Zoom. Let's see here. Speakers. All right, say something now. Say it again. All right, 1 second. No, it was good earlier, but something happened. 1 moment. You know what? Just for the sake of time, because I'm not able to fix this right now the way this is set up. Hold on. So strictly for the sake of time, so that I'm not dealing with these issues, I'm going to put you back where it was. 1 second. I'm going to put it back where it was. Studio. All right, say something now.
Testing. Shalom.
Yeah, we'll leave you there. I'm sorry about that. Don't let the spirit break. Okay. All right, so you can turn yourself up just a little bit if you would like.
Okay.
Right?
Let me see here. Just let me know if I'm too hot.
No, you are fine. So you were saying something about the Gadites. Go ahead.
That's correct. Yes. So upon the RCMP assisting the Roman Catholic Church, to take them from their parents, the children, from as young as toddlers all the way up into teens, and to bring them into these residential schools, which we would call in our time right now concentration centers, or rehabilitation centers. What they were saying they were doing it for the help of the nation. Anyways, what they would do was completely, upon arrival, shave their head off, shave their braids out, shave their hair out, not allow them to speak in their native tongue, in their regular language, and forced to speak either French or English. And they were, severely abused, beaten, sexually abused. It was pretty horrible, some of the stuff that you go through. And this is all coming out now. And this is why when you titled this, They're Climbing Through Your Windows, I found it profound in hindsight of the news that I was going to bring forth. With all of that being said, we've been invited to the Middle River Reserve to actually bring forth the information in relating to connecting them to being the one of the 12 tribes that were lost, and showing the connection.
Let's because you're rolling a lot. And we need to give some distinct quantitative detail, because some people might not know exactly what you're talking about, being from someplace else. This is an international broadcast. So in a nutshell, the Gadites who have been taken down in Canada for years and have been silenced are starting to realize that we're the children of Israel, and have invited our church to come onto the reservation.
That is correct. That is correct. And to put on a full, presentation. And check this out, Elder. This is how profound it is. Through the family members of the church and the officers, speaking on an individual basis with them and stuff, encouraging them to, put forth the videos and the broadcasts that you guys do weekly. Them seeing the videos actually open up their eyes and created an opportunity for us to actually get on the reserve. Because it's not like you can just go up there anytime at any given notice. It's something that you have to be invited to.
So you sent them the GOCC YouTube page.
That's correct.
And they've been watching it. Currently, they've been watching it and are interested in finding more concerning their people. All right, go ahead
Exactly.
and go ahead and roll.
And check this out, because, Elder, we're so in tune as a church with what's going on politically, modernized in the sense, what's going on politically, and showing prophecy and showing biblical scriptures, connecting all of these things together. This is what really intrigued them. And then when they found out in regards to, that they were actually one of the 12 tribes, this really ignited a fire in them to say, you know what, we need to invite this church up here. And they actually wanted a church in the area. But first, let's get out there. Nonetheless, what this has done, and I received a phone call from one of the brothers yesterday stating that because the invite has gone out to that reserve, another larger reserve, to the Cree Nation Reserve, which is much larger out here in Canada, has also invited us. The travel is quite far. We're talking way up in North Canada. We're going really far up. And this is, deep backwoods, communities. And people may not even understand that when I'm speaking in that relation, because we have city centers here, but the reserves are way back in the woods, away from civilization. It's not like, how we see cities and stuff like that. These are small communities that are just, relatively Gadites on site. But again, because we've been able to make the connections with the band chiefs, with family members on the reserves, this is actually opening up a door for us to come in. And they're
Hold on. I think something is going on with this signal there. You okay?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You pause for a second. Go on.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see it there.
You said you were elated, that they were elated to know that the Gathering of Christ Church is coming to their reservations.
Exactly. They're excited. They asked us to print up pamphlets so that they can hand out to the local people before we actually arrive on site, and asked if we can bring the choir, the band, and everything. So we're excited. This is happening September 22nd, just after the Feast of Tabernacles.
Look at that.
So we're organizing the whole body just to go out and show a good time, show the love, show the spiritual connections that we have, and really showing them who they are in relation to the Bible, because they've been going through it just as how Benjamin, Judah, every one of us has gone through it. They've been going through it and still are. So I'm happy, that I'm a part of this church, a part of this work, working with the brothers and sisters that are laboring. I just get off the phone with brothers way down in Victoria, and they said they're on their way up, and this is a 10-hour drive just to make this trip. So the church is working, the church is moving.
Yeah, and I know Gaja will be traveling over there.
That's correct.
This week, coming up for the atonement.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah.
So it's going to be a blessing, brother. All I have to say is, brother, listen. Only thing I have to say is I thank you for all your service and your continual work, and it has not gone unnoticed. And above all, what you brothers and sisters have done there and will continue to do there has been blessed by the Almighty. And this getting to our Gadite brothers is that's an example in of itself concerning the power of prophecy and how the Most High is using this church to bring back the lost tribes of Israel. Now, any sources you need, anything you need that you think that to go along with the sources, because I know you see all those books behind you. Yeah. So I know you got a lot of those books that we've been teaching through. So, but any extra biblical sources, any sources that you need, I can make sure that you'll have those at least on the pamphlet to be able to show that, so that they can teach themselves in our absence.
That's correct.
And you know what? We'll have the Gathering of Christ Church. We'll turn that whole reservation back to the Almighty, and that's our plan, right?
That's the plan, sir.
All praises. Great work. Great work. Now, speaking of that, I'm going to show you how the Most High is moving. I'm on the phone with Bishop Baruch in Atlanta the other day, and I'm going to have him come on probably next week and give his testimony. In Atlanta, there was a meeting with the financial ministers of Africa. It was, I think, the Ghana president of the, the Ghanaian president. Well, really, he's over the finances, the financial department of Ghana and Liberia, right? And what they're doing is trying to reach out to our people here to actually bridge the gap between those who went into slavery, the finance ministers of Ghana as well as Liberia is opening up the opportunity. They're saying that Asians are trying to come over here and get stuff and all these others. And here it is. We got a bishop of the Gathering of Christ Church there in the midst of this. There were Asians there. There were Jewish people there. All of these people. And check this out. In the midst of it all going down, they knew we were Hebrews. Well, Israelites, right? So a Jewish woman holding a shofar asked Bishop Baruch to pray for everyone, right? And then the minister of finance says, that would be nice. That would be nice, right?
Look at that.
Now listen. So he put his hand on the minister of finance's elbow, and they all looked down to pray. The Jewish woman came with a shofar, and the brother Baruch said, let's pray. And he broke down the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Shabbat Shemayim. Listen. Shabbat Shemayim. Quadash. Hayah. He said, the Jewish woman said, oh my goodness, this is Hebrew. Brother, she fell to her knees. While, and the minister of finance is looking at this. A black man is sitting there with the ancient Hebrew. And the Jewish woman holding a shofar said, he's praying in Hebrew. It was the ancient though. It wasn't the modern Hebrew. She fell to her knees and just started praying as the brother was praying the ancient Hebrew. Now, these are all political wings seeking to get themselves in with Africa financially. So she gets up, and then after he says it in Hebrew, he says it in the English. She gets up. Another Jewish woman and a younger girl behind the Jewish woman says, well, what was he speaking? And Baruch says, Hebrew. She says, we don't know if this Hebrew. He says, I'm speaking the ancient Hebrew. And then he says, we are the Hebrews. The woman went back with the shofar, and he said she had tears in her eyes. And then the minister of finance smiled and did like this and nodded his head.
Crazy.
And I'm just saying, in the midst of everything you're saying, the Most High is moving in the earth with this church in areas that no one can quantify.
That's right.
It's exactly what the Most High said.
Absolutely.
That at the very end, the Gentiles will come before us and they will tell the Hebrews, surely our fathers have inherited lies and things of no profit. And now the same people that have been downtrodden as spectacles, the Most High is having them shine in this light at the very end as was prophesied. And what you're doing, what I heard yesterday, I'm like, you know what? We're in the home stretch.
That's right.
We're in the home stretch, and we just have to hold on, finish our work against all adversity, because they're going to throw everything at our people at the very end. Now, speaking of throwing everything at our people, I know y'all been dealing with these asylum seeker type deals.
Yeah.
Right? Check this out. The Bible says this young man. I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't have to tell you. You already know. You teach too, right? But listen to what I'm saying here for the people. The prophecy is unfolding. They have actually waged physical war, a clandestine, silent war against the children of Israel within the inner cities. It's exactly what the Bible says when he says, 2 Esdras 16 and 68, for behold, the burning wrath of a multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you being idle, and things offered unto idols. And then it says right here, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. This whole thing is indirectly aimed towards destroying the people of the awakening. And it's under the guise of asylum seeking, immigration. But no, folks, this is an outright strategic war led by military to engage our people without any understanding what they're up against. And only those who understand the word will be sheltered and hedged through this. Okay, now, why am I saying this? I had a call before I spoke to you earlier, young man, while I was getting things together. Denver, Colorado. It so happens that my brother, Deacon Yashar, one of my head security guys, called me and said, Elder, everything that you dropped about these asylum seekers, it's been confirmed. Real time, eyewitness, even with people in the church, that the fact that they're covering up what's really going on in the inner city with these so-called illegals. And guess what? And that war has been waged against us by the Democrats. By the Democrats. The Demonuts. Because I'm going to tell you, that party is where all the nuts, the nihilists, the people who want to castrate children, who want to get rid of children, that's where the Satanists are. Mm-hmm. Now, check this out, young man. Check this out.
See.
Just 3 months ago, check out the jubilation and celebration of, with America helping the asylum seekers. Now, this was just 3 months ago. Now, listen to how they reported 3 months ago opposed to what they're saying now. Right? Fair use for educational purposes only.
Well, today, hundreds of migrants are attending a first ever orientation for asylum seekers here in Denver. The city tells us about 650 families and migrants are signed up.
And we're talking about over 10 to 15 million of illegals. Now, do some of these people need help? Yes. But those that need help, the women and children, are a cover for what they're really letting loose in the inner cities. They're just the cover. The women and children story, yeah, there's some women and children that they sprinkle in and all that, but they're just to cover the Trojan horse for the army. Listen to this.
Officials say they will be given apartments for up to 6 months, as well as job and skills training opportunities, food assistance, and help with asylum applications. We spoke to the city about why they are making the change in support.
Saw people, like, even when they got into housing, they didn't have access to legal work. And so they were about a month, they got into their housing and then they were immediately thinking about, how do I pay month 2? We didn't want that. It didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for them to be on the streets in a month. So this is where
So that sound, we just wanted to help the poor little asylum seekers not be on the street when you strategically brought them in during a time where it was still cold outside to some degree at first. You notice they started bringing them in the winters so that there'll be some sympathy there. And this is what they weren't telling you. They were being told to come during the winter coming into the spring and summer afterward. Right? So, let's help the children. Now, the Demonuts and all those included in that circle is behind this. Listen how they reported it. This is how they got us. This is how they got us to become what? Sorry, or to have sympathy for those that are coming in to destroy what's left of us.
This program came from. And so basically what we're doing is we're targeting a smaller group of people, but providing far, far more robust services.
Orientation has already wrapped up for today, but there will be another one tomorrow in order to accommodate the hundreds of families joining this new asylum seekers program.
The asylum seekers program, right? Now, what are they not saying? Well, if you're going to give them an orientation, 6 months free rent with a new apartment. A lot of these buildings are going up strictly for them. Finances, food, and orientations for jobs that only illegals can get. That means they'll discriminate against citizens who need housing. Unless you're from somewhere else, you can't get it. Right? Now, I need y'all to think about that for a second. If they're doing orientations for jobs within the United States, right? Think about this in Denver. Then whose positions are they replacing? An orientation for jobs that only they can get in the United States. Huh? I think that's what Trump meant by black jobs. What about you? Because they're not going to replace the white suburbians who over these corporations and all that. They're not replacing their jobs. And certain unions don't care because they're over the unions and they can hire a lot of these people for cheaper labor without dedicating long-term finances for retirement and all that to these illegals. So the unions don't care because they're able to get cheap labor but still charge astronomical prices. Now, let me tell you let me tell you, check this out. You would have thought that that was what? 10 years ago. Boy, how have things changed. It was about the sympathy that should be given to these so-called asylum seekers running from their war-torn homes. But this is what's really going on. And folks, they're using the news to cover for them. Listen, the news been covering for them the whole time. Listen to this.
National correspondent Dan Grossman is looking into this story for us. Dan, what have you learned?
Now, this just happened within the last 24 hours. Everyone is now talking about how there's gangs outright overtaking apartment buildings. Nino Brown style. That's what's being said on the street. Even the gangs are talking about it. Let's see how the news is going to spin the enemies they let into the country.
Marisa, police here in Aurora, Colorado tell us they do not believe that there is any gang takeover here at the Lowry Apartments, the Edgett Lowry Apartments, which are right behind me.
They don't believe, they talk to police, and the police don't believe there is a takeover of these apartments. Well, I just got firsthand news from someone living in Denver, Colorado. Deacon Yashar, who has spoken with a brother in our church who's been hired as security. A lot of these apartment buildings are hiring private security because of what's going on to report to police the illegal satanic takeover that's going on with these apartment buildings. A brother in the church. And I'm going to conceal his face when I bring him on next week. And we'll probably do something about his voice. But y'all got to hear his report. Okay, I'm going to bring him on. The report is, when these people, illegals, begin to take over these apartments and harm people and all that, the tenants call the police, and the police stand down. They're told not to come. It's above their jurisdiction. It's above what they can do. Asylum seekers can do certain crimes, and the police they'll have to let them go. How do we know this? Well, the brother who's a security guard was talking with a few of the Venezuelans that was out there. And he says, I'm here to report anything that's going on to keep the peace as a security guard here. And one of the guys stood up in attention. He stood up in attention like he was from the army and says, would you like me to help? He was like, what? Because maybe he didn't know that the brother was a security guard and not a police. He says, would you like for me to help? Stood in attention like he was from military. And he told the brother, all you have to do is activate me. I can help. Activate me? Is this guy from a foreign military? And the brother didn't even know how to take what he was actually witnessing in lieu of everything we've been talking about. This was a regular guy, Venezuelan guy, that wasn't a part of the clans that are doing things. And he says, I can help regulate if you activate me. And he stood up in attention like he was from the army, a foreign army. Folks, it's all over the United States right now. And the news is covering for them.
On social media have purported. Now, this all deals with Tren de Aragua. They are a well-known and powerful criminal organization from Venezuela. And this week, we heard for the first time residents who live in these apartments. This video showing men entering an apartment in Aurora, Colorado has been the subject of national scrutiny. We're using a still of the video that shows the men who appear to be...
And this is fair use for educational purposes to expose the liars, the synagogue of Satan, who's behind the same people that we're financing with our treasury, are financing these people to use as a proxy war against the tribes of Israel in the earth.
Armed at the door to an occupied apartment. An Aurora police spokesperson tells Scripps News the video is authentic and was recorded the night of August 18th. Shortly after, police say they used a search warrant to obtain the long gun seen in the video. Police say they found it while investigating a nearby shooting that detectives believe involved the same people. The video has garnered the attention of former President Donald Trump, who has spoken about it on the campaign trail.
And we've got to be tough, because if you see what's happening in Aurora, Colorado today, did you see that? Where Venezuelan gang members have taken over parts of the city. They've taken over apartment houses.
This week, residents...
Now, what happened was, right after this, the same people that you see right here in these tents...
And help with asylum applications. We spoke to need food...
Hold up, let me show you. Same people in these tents are also utilized for political protesting as a cover. So you think it's about asylum, but anytime that the news need to use them to cover for the military that they've let in here, they give them these signs and say, what's really happening, it's not happening. So they'll have these people who came in from overseas and claim that these are the tenants of the apartment buildings that are claiming there's nothing to see here. It's more the slumlords we have to worry about, opposed to these people who are harassing Denver citizens. See how they do it? The same people, folks, that they get from these tents, when it comes time, the political machine of the Demonuts pay them to come out here and say, there's really no gangs harming anyone. There's no takeover. It's more so a problem with the slumlords. I wish y'all would come out here and help us with the landlord who didn't fix my light last week. casting aspersions on those who what? Who own property as American citizens. Shifting what? And misdirecting the conversation off of the illegals. You see how they do this? Folks, this is politics 101. They'll make you believe that these are the people who are saying, well, there's no military, there's no gangs. And they'll use them to deflect the story from what's really going on with, guess what? The way it was reported from the beginning is exactly what's going on, and we have witnesses for that. They're using this to spin the story. Now, I believe that they're going to cause some chaos in these major cities that would normally affect the election when it comes to certain numbers. They're strategically being placed in certain cities, and these are the swing states and cities they need under certain circumstances politically, and they're already in place to cause chaos in the midst of the election cycle. Listen to what I'm telling you, folks.
Who live at the complex held a news conference saying they haven't seen a large-scale gang presence or a takeover.
Here, none of us feel threatened. We don't feel threatened.
He says we don't feel threatened. These guys are plants. We don't feel threatened. I know, because the people you brought over are from your country. It's the American citizen that feels threatened. See? This is politics, folks. This guy get a check for this. We don't feel threatened. Now, the black folk, hey, they may have another problem who've been living here before, you know, they placed our people on top of them. Now, maybe they feel threatened, but we don't feel threatened.
By any gangs, we feel threatened by the owner of this apartment who asks us constantly to pay a
and then, let me tell you, you can tell when they use the people from the soft side. See? Let me tell you, the soft side, I mean the flag side, if you understand what I'm saying, were the same people trying to push the shots on us. So this is what they do. They'll dress them up, put them out there politically to push anything to misdirect what they're truly paid to do against us. They always use what's in the fruit bowl. Same thing.
high rate.
Same thing. They just switch it up. It's no different than Black Lives Matter, folks. Same thing. Use the same type of persuasion, different color, but it's the same thing to cause some disruption right before the election. Same thing, folks. So there's a tinge of Leviticus 20 and 13 up in here. They're climbing through your windows. All right? Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Residents of the apartment complex said there are gangs, but they have not run into any members of the Tren de Aragua themselves. In a one-on-one interview with Scripps News Denver, the city's mayor, Mike Kaufman, a Republican, said he went to the apartment complex accompanied by members of the Aurora Police Department to see it for himself.
It seems that in some of those criminal elements have come up here, and that, for instance, Venezuela does not cooperate with the United States with our immigration services when it comes to sharing criminal histories. So it's difficult to vet people at the border.
Kaufman has tiptoed around questions about the gang's presence, saying it appears the building is not being run by management. But when pressed on whether he has received confirmation from authorities on whether TDA is present, he has said he is not.
I think people are excited about that, oh, it's a transnational gang. And, I'm obviously concerned about it, but, quite frankly, to me personally, what matters is we get these people off the street. In whatever affiliation they have, they're bad.
You would think that with the power of the American military and the armed forces that's used to keep our community under control, that this thing could get taken care of. Folks, if they wanted to, almost immediately. If they wanted this thing to be totally just shut down overnight, they could if they wanted to. This is political football from either side pressed against us. It's been stoked on one side. It's been moved on one side, but yet allowed on the other without resistance. To show you, both sides are for it. Now, I got some information, brother, that I'm going to drop this coming Wednesday, leading into our broadcast next week too. Right? Next week on the Wednesday broadcast. Well, the mayor now in Denver is asking, where are the gangs? Locally, they don't want to play this where we are, folks. Locally, the mayor is asking, why are the gangs, the black gangs, the Crips, the Bloods, why are they allowing their neighborhoods to be overran? That where is the regulation to stop the pushback of foreigners? Now, that's conversation that's being had where the mayor is saying, well, listen, why is the American gangs allowing this to happen? Hey, that and more we will revisit. They're Climbing in Your Windows Part 2 next week. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to bring in people, eyewitnesses, to talk about what's really going on outside of the media spin. The police aren't allowed to do certain things. Only if there's a body somewhere that need to be dragged out or something can they come. Somebody dead there or something. And they put those protocols in place when the Demon Nuts was out there talking about defund the police during the virus. See? So you didn't realize what they were putting in place was rules so that when they let these people go, let ham on our people, that there'll be no police to protect us. The defund the police was about that. Them allowing the nihilists, the gang members, the Satanists, the murderers loose without resistance on the children of Israel, as it's stated in 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter. Young man, and I know y'all dealing with things similar over there.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to put this update out there, brother. I thank you. What great work you're doing, and we're not finished.
Nope.
Okay, we're going all the way to Zion. Okay, this is our segue. Elder Lawyer is waiting for you all on the other side. Patreon Q&As in case y'all have any questions. And next week, I'll be breaking down the Candace Owens Rabbi Shmuley. What type of rabbi is this? Debate. Brother, get your popcorn ready.
That's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Well, brother, thank you, and you have a blessed Sabbath, all right?
Yes, you too, sir.
Great work.
Bless the family for me. Shalom, family.
Shalom. Brother Dawadar from Edmonton, Toronto. Signing out. Bless you, my brother. Yeah, the devil is so mad, brothers and sisters, that our people have finally woke up. They don't know what to do, because usually they could indirectly attack us through deceit or through our ignorance. Now that we understand who we are, the Most High have shown us also who our enemies are. Be hedged, and the only hedge that can protect us through this is what? Through the blood, and the blood of Christ is our hedge. Okay, this protection I'm talking about extends from the throne of the Almighty. From the throne of the Almighty. And we are living in some serious epic and or prophetic times, brothers and sisters. Okay, a time that the prophets, that even the disciples long to see. They heard about it, they seen it in visions, But we're living what? We're living in a time that's actually for the deliverance for the lost tribes of Israel. What an epic time to be living, huh? Right? Of course, it's a rough deal. We're going to have to go through some trouble, but hey, we're almost home. We are the children of Israel, brothers and sisters. And yes, we're back. Have a great Sabbath. And you can segue over now to Patreon. Elder Lawyer will be waiting for you all there. Have a great Sabbath. And yes, this Sunday in the Hebrew and Bible Academy, historytimes.org, we'll be going into the racist ideology within the religion called Islam. That's right, folks. You're talking about a racist religion. There's a lot they've hid of what they really think about black people within that doctrine. Okay? And we're going to go into that and more. The racism within Islam, this coming Sunday. I hope to see you. Have a great evening. Have a great Sabbath. Shalom. Matter of fact, I'll do it like this. The East is where we're from. We're the children of Israel. Yes. And we're back. Shalom. Oh, they're climbing through your windows. Protect yourself.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the arms of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint, together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled and fed. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans, our highest gathering is Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, our highest gathering is Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the arms of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering is